Hey everybody, welcome back to the Breath of Fire 3 walkthrough. We've just defeated the Chimera, and we're just taking this lift down here to the lower level. I think there's just a couple of treasure chests in here. And no, we already grabbed the ID card, I forgot about that. Alright, so here's the HE shells, and you actually need these. Yeah, it even prompts you there. It says Momo can use them to destroy plant life. They are quite powerful, obviously. I don't typically actually use them for, you know, just normal fights. I really only use them for when they're required. And then I think Re is required right there to pick that lock. So the giant shield, dragon shield, and the dragon helm. Dragon helm, in my opinion, best helmet for the hero because it absorbs flame. And that frees up it frees up the armor slot for something else for him. So I mean, obviously I don't need the magma armor and the dragon helm. Both of them absorb flame, but I really like there's a couple of different pieces of armor. Force armor is good for the time being. My favorite armor for, I think, the main character is the mist armor, but it's going to be a while before we get that. So yeah, so for the time being, the force armor will have to do. And I left this fight in here. I started cutting out some of these fights in this area just because we've already seen all of it. But I left this one in just because you can kind of see how equipping your characters, you know, well can really make these fights easy. So obviously I had no fear of the frost breath or the fire breath from the two drakes, which is probably pretty obvious right there. So we just absorbed both. Yeah, so you know, again, that's kind of like the power of being set up really well. I just have no fear of this stuff whatsoever. You know, obviously if you don't have the equipment that I have, you may have to play these fights a little bit differently. Maybe Momo's sleep would have been useful here, just to try to get lucky and put some stuff to sleep, but I don't know. Or the sleep shells like I just did there. And really at this point, it's the sleep shells are, in my opinion, they're useful to me anyway, because these things that use like these breath fires or these breath attacks get a little annoying just because of the animation times, you know. So really it just is more of well, I want to put this thing to sleep so I don't have to watch it cast its, you know, abilities essentially. So yeah, that's my 2 cents, I guess, on that. Then here I just, again, I cut out some of these fights because it's all stuff that we've already seen a bunch of times, so I didn't really feel like it made much sense to just leave it in. That giant shield, I think, just for the defense stat, I think that's the best one for Gar, but you know, again, not my choice of best gear for him. And then that dragon shield. So the dragon shield and the dragon helmet both set your flame resistance to 7, and depending on what you want to do, or what stats you need, or what area you're in, you know, you might want to swap some things in and out. But for this area specifically, you know, obviously I equipped him with the main character, that is, with the dragon helmet, and then you know, equip the force armor. And I think it must be after you beat the Chimera, that floor is no longer electrified. And then we just cut out another fight. And then what am I doing down here? I think I tried to, yeah, I just got into a fight here and did I cut that? Yep, cut that too. I think I was just trying to potentially get the dragon fang to drop from the drakes in the area before I left, but I decided to actually continue on and save instead. I just didn't, I didn't really want to, screw something up and, misplay really horribly and end up losing a bunch of progress. That would have been pretty bad, So yeah, so we're just gonna head back. And again, that's the kind of the cool thing I like about this dungeon is it's kind of split up into like, I don't know, I'd say like 4 major areas. And between each area you can just save. So it's, this is kind of like the save area is kind of like the center of everything. So, again, you can just come right back, save, rest, swap out your characters if you want. One thing I will say though, for sure, you are going to need Momo for a few minutes for sure for this next spot. So you're definitely gonna need to put her back into your party. And those HE shells that we grabbed underneath where the Chimera was at there, those are needed in a little bit here, and you'll see that. Okay, so I cut a battle there, but I didn't cut the experience. It's kind of weird. Whatever. Alright, so here we can finally open up this door. And let's see what's inside here. Demon's Bane. That's not that great, in all honesty. The Demon's Bane is, I mean, it's okay. There's a boss coming up that I guess is kind of good for, but I don't know. I already have some pretty ridiculous weapons, so it doesn't really feel like it matters that much. But the Demon's Bane can also be acquired through fishing, which I believe I already had one, before this point anyway, so it just kind of felt like meh. Kind of felt like, who cares? And then this is the path. So the green path, obviously, is the path to the next area. And let's see here. I know I get into a fight here, and I didn't cut it because. So I think I just decided to not cut any more fights for the time being, just because this is a new area, and we are going to be encountering some new stuff. So here's the Wraith. If I remember right, you can steal soul gems from the Wraith. So, if you haven't fought the Archmage and the Berserker yet, these soul gems, okay, so let me back up. There's obviously an easier way to get soul gems, and that's through the Fairy Village. But if you haven't been actively working on getting those, or working on the Fairy Village, this is the other place to get the soul gems. And if you notice there, it used a skill called Depress. What that does is it actually takes away your AP, and that skill actually works off of the Psionic skill. Interestingly enough, being that my main character has the Force Armor on, the Force Armor absorbs or sets your let me back. It sets your Psionics resistance to 7. So, normally all of the Psionic skills in this game are more like, attack down, defense down, so on and so forth. So it doesn't really, they're not typically, or resistance to it doesn't really do much for damage, but, let me rephrase that. Psionic skills don't typically do damage. They're more like that. The resistance is more based on the strength down, attack down, speed down, that sort of thing. But in this case, for Depress anyway, since Depress actually does do damage, that Force Armor will give you health back, AP back when it tries to use Depress on you. So it's kind of an interesting little trick. You can actually kind of let them hit you and you'll actually get AP back. You know, granted there is a healing room right next to us, so that's maybe not all that useful, but it's interestingly enough to know. And here I don't know what happened there. If I don't know if I got confused and like I tried shooting it once and I think I missed or something, or wasn't standing in the right spot. So like I didn't think it was working or something, but you do need to have those HE shells equipped, and then you need to go shoot those plants in front of the door. And I guess I was not paying attention to that fight, but that's okay. I don't know if there was anything I needed to speak about. But anyways, so if you just equip the HE shells and fire right there, that looks like, so obviously it worked right there that time. So I don't know if I was standing too close before or what the deal, or if I wasn't just standing in the right spot. Anyways, doesn't really matter. But the other thing about going back to the Wraith is the Wraith actually drops the Divine Helm. And so it's one of 2 enemies that'll drop the Divine Helm. And the Divine Helm is actually a really great helmet. It sets your death resistance to 7. And it has a 1 in 128 drop rate, which is not very good. But that's already twice as good as the Gold Egg, which, if you remember that was back in the factory. And you know, the Wraiths are much more common, much more common in this area. So, and then on top of that, you can use the Charm skill to double your chances. So it'll be like a 1 in 64 drop rate. So, you know, if you want to get the Divine Helm, I would suggest doing it here. And then this Foul Weed, probably the best place to get power meals in the game, in my opinion. The steal rate is insanely high. They start out the battle sleeping already. So, you know, other than like the hobgoblins, these are, you know, they have a great steal rate. So it's very, very easy to steal those. And if you're using just Charm and then like the actual steal command, you know, obviously you won't even wake them up. So, you know, it's kind of like they're practically giving them away, you know. Now, granted, I use Pilfer a lot instead, and I use the Charm skill with the main character. And then actually, a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll just attack once with Momo at the end of the turn to put it back to sleep. So you'll probably see that right here. Yeah, this is a perfect combo. So, Charm, Pilfer. Steal there. Yep, power food. And then try to put it back to sleep. And I missed. Oh well. So, you know, there's another spot, I guess, in the game that can you could maybe consider it pretty decent. And you know, obviously, I'll speak about that a little more once we actually get there. But in my opinion, these things are pretty awesome to get the power foods from. This area specifically, I would say. Reason being, if you're after the best sword in the game, I don't know, some people's, I guess, idea of the best sword in the game. It's the most powerful sword in the game anyway, base power rate anyway, for the main character, and it's called the Goo King sword. Very, very difficult to get. Very, very rare. It's a 1 in 256 drop rate. It's only dropped from the Goo King. And this particular area right here is one of the areas that the Goo King can be encountered in. I don't know if this is the best. I don't know that this is the best place to actually encounter them. Like, you know, basically in every single area in the game, you've got you know, there's 16 different enemy formations, and in this one, I don't think that this is technically the best place to actually, like, you know, get into an encounter with the Goo King. So, you know, by that token, it may not be the best place to actually farm for them, but this area does have these foul weeds, and, you know, so if you're trying to kind of like kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and then add to the fact that you can encounter the Wraiths here, so if you're trying to get the Divine Helms, You know, this is by all rights probably the best place to farm then. And I obviously will, I guess we'll speak about that a little more if I ever actually encounter one. And I don't know that I did get into a fight once or with one here in this particular area, so I don't know if I'll be able to explain much about it, but I guess we'll find out. So yeah, I guess, you know, again, if you want to try to get the Goo King sword and the divine helmets, as well as, you know, really probably easily increase your stockpile of power foods, you know, this would probably be my recommendation. Just, you know, it's a pretty tame area, and then actually on top of that, you know, we're right next to a healing room, so you know, you can just, if you get low at all on AP or HP, whatever, you can walk right back out of this room and heal up. Oh man, and I forgot when we were at that save room, that you're gonna need Rhi for this part too. There's a locked door coming up that I forgot all about. So yeah, I apologize for that. I really wish I would have remembered to do that. And actually, I'm not gonna go back and put a cut in because this program that I am using is not. It is just annoying to do stuff like that. So again, I apologize, but now you know. There is a reason why I use Momo and Rhi for my kind of like my end game setup, and that's mostly it. It's just otherwise you're constantly switching characters in and out and stuff. After, well, it'll probably be at least one, maybe two more videos. Then there won't, they won't necessarily need to. And here's the door. You won't need to do any kind of switching and stuff, but again, you know, that'll be a ways up. Fun fact, though, once you do shoot through those weeds or whatever in front of the door, then you can actually go back and swap Momo back out if you want. But you do need her for that, just to take care of those weeds. Which is, you know, a little annoying, but I guess it's not the end of the world. So, just a couple more fog weeds. The little frog guys in here, the hoppers, I think we've already run into them a few times, but they're the same ones as, you know, on kind of like I guess you could say the orange path, and they do have the ability to confuse your characters. So, you know, again, if I haven't already, you know, beat that into your mind, you know, it's nice to have protectors equipped. Wisdom fruit, hooray! I believe there's a little hidden item up here too, in this corner. You can see like the top part of the screen. That would be like the top left part of the screen there. I believe there's I want to say that's the silver tiara, and I believe that's really, really good for Momo and Nina. You know, if not the best headgear in the game for them. I believe it's got, alright, let's see here, 50% resistance to psionic status and death. So, you know, for somebody like Momo, if you've already got protectors equipped, that'll give her complete resistance to status effects without, you know, taking up an accessory slot. So pretty nice. Pretty useful, I'd say. Oh, the holy robe. You know, I was I talked a little smack on the holy robes, but they actually do give the exact same resistances as the silver tiara, except it's body armor. I don't know. I don't remember who can use those though. You know, right off the top of my head. I in all honesty, I never equipped them, but I always liked other options. And I think Momo actually was equipped with the Phantom dress right now. Nope, I was wrong. Sage's frock. I don't know why I thought that. Did I actually? Yep, there we go. I equipped it. Okay. So I tossed that silver tiara on right away. Boy, did she have the protectors on? I guess I wasn't paying attention to anything other than the chest armor. Or the body slot, I guess I should say. I don't know. Oh well. I guess if I ever actually like paid attention to what I was doing, that'd be nice. And here you have the dragon spear, which is good for Gar. I don't know. I don't even know if I should say it's good for Gar. I don't ever think I even equipped it. I always kind of felt like other spears were better, but whatever. I especially like the Gungnir. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably not, but I like the, you know, sets his accuracy to 100. I like weapons like that. You know, maybe a little bit weaker, but you know, 100% hit rate is something to be said for that. You know, it's nothing like completely whiffing on an enemy that you're expecting to hit and, you know, then doing no damage and potentially getting, you know, smacked in the face when you weren't expecting it. So I don't know. That's kind of the way I like to do things anyway. I like to make sure I'm hitting stuff. The homing missile or homing bomb, I think is what it's actually called, for Momo is actually a really good choice too. But you know, she's kind of a special case where she's got all those cool little side effects anyway with her weapons that I kind of find is pretty useful. So there's the soul gem again, like we already talked about. Oh, one of the things, I believe you have to smack one of these with a magic spell first to take down its barrier. Otherwise, they just don't take very much damage. Or maybe you just need to use multiple of the same skills. Maybe that's what it was. I can't remember. It looks like I just used the royal sword twice. It looks like you know, it looks like they've got like pretty decent elemental resistance or like this, you know, some sort of barrier, you know. And then once you use a skill like lightning once on it, then the next lightning skill you use on it should hit it really hard. I don't know though if I've ever tried like using a lightning spell on it first and then using, say, a fire spell. I'm not sure. You know, if that fire spell would still do full damage or if then you have to destroy its fire barrier. I kind of think that that's the way it works. Like, you know, if you use different elemental types, you'll have to hit it with that second elemental skill twice as well. But you know, I don't know that I've ever really tried that. And in here, so here's kind of where the Aigus are at, and I don't know. They're kind of annoying. Like, why are they putting regular lame Aigus, you know, here at the very end of the game? But whatever, they did. So, all right. So here we finally have come to Eden. Looks like we're outside, but it's just another room. So this is kind of weird. I mean, you know, it looks like we're outdoors, but we're not. There's another free force armor, which is pretty nice. I believe everybody can equip force armor. Could be wrong though on that, but I know Momo can for sure. Maybe Nina's the only one that can't. Well, actually, probably Pico can't either, would be my guess. Pico does not have very many good equipment choices in the game, unfortunately, but oh well, such is life. Ooh, who's that up there? Caught somebody's leg up in the top corner of my screen. Alright, so here we finally get into some Goo Titans. At a certain point, I believe it's something like over level 46 or something like that, the Goo Titans will start using time to blow, like right away. Which is actually pretty dangerous because they have a ton of health. And, you know, time blow, if it hits you or if it connects, it uses their remaining health to do damage to you, basically. So it'll always bring the Goo Titan to 1 health. And, you know, however much it had, they'll do to you. So, again, it can be quite dangerous. You know, unless you've got 250, probably 251 or how, you know, whatever. It'll one-shot you. So, again, you know, quite dangerous. So, I like this area too because the Goo Titans can, you know, you can steal from them for life shards. And boy, I don't know if I would say that this is the best place to get those, but I will say that this is probably the best item if you're trying to, like, again, kind of like kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because you can run into the Goo Kings here in this area, as well as the Goo Titans. So, you know, if you're trying to build up your health for your characters, and trying to get the Goo King sword, you know, this is probably the place to do it. And actually, I think that you can run into the Wraiths here too in this area. Actually, yeah, you can for sure. So, again, you know, if you're trying to get a couple of different rare drops, this is a good place to do it. But, alright, so here we finally have Tipo. It's an interesting little dialogue there. He says if the birds try to fly, they only end up hurting themselves. You know, because they're trapped in this room. So Tipo is obviously very cold reaction to Rhi. They haven't seen each other for years. You know, Rhi thought that he had died, and he basically just tells Rhi to shut up, and he needs to talk to, you know, the main character. So pretty cold dude. So he's definitely changed a bit over the years. Alright, so obviously, definitely a flashback. And Tipo turned into a whelp, obviously. So that was a little interesting. Much blood has been shed to reach this point. True. Both the... Huh, okay. Let's get to the point, Tipo. How about that, huh, buddy? Violence, pain, and blood. So the brood are violence, pain, and blood, or so he says. Okay. The brood. Okay. Cause war and chaos wherever we go. I don't know. So, Mr. Tipo. Let's put this in your head to wait here to kill Mike. Alright. Huh. Should the power of the brood be left uncontrolled? Okay. Ah, so now we see what's up. Alright, so it's interesting his choice of words there, though. He says that, you know, Miria would never harm anybody. Alright. And here we have the dream world. Alright. It's got pretty good power. I mean, you can own only your own heart, but those of your so-called friends as well. Alright, so we're going to venture into the hearts of our allies, apparently, and Tipo seems to think that that's going to prove that he's right. These Mad Gongs have a... Oh, man. I don't remember the steal rate on the ginseng. I don't know that you even need to charm them. I think you can just... steal, yeah. The ginseng. And I don't know if it was in, I don't know what version it was, but those were, the ginseng in this version was called the vodka shot. In, I don't know if it's the new version, like if it's the PSP or what, but those are not called the ginseng in every version, so just know that. Basically, it's just an item that you can use in combat to increase your power. Basically, I don't know, like a consumable version of, what is it? Like the Holy Avenger, I guess it would be, or just the regular might spell. Alright, let's see what Nina's got to say here. I left the castle for the first time. I wasn't my mother's daughter or the Princess of Windia. I was just able to be Nina. Thought it was very important that we learn about making the brood. I don't know anymore. Maybe I left the castle just because I was tired of being controlled by my mom. Huh. Yeah, so interesting. That'll be the first... That's kind of what... the demons that Nina is tussling with. And here we have Yeah, this is so... And then, you know, Ree's obviously kind of conflicted about his powers and... You know, but it's like he even says, you know, it's no comparison to the broods. Alright, anyways, that's going to bring this video to a close. So like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. But hope you join me for more videos. And we'll continue on with the journey into the minds of our friends in the next episode. Alright, thanks for watching.